What's up, folks? Casual Dad here again, and we're going to keep going with the series. I'm jumping around the warlords just a little bit. I will be going back to fill in the gaps and cover everyone, but I just recorded the video for Tolmaron and then the video for Zephyrblade, remembered his name. So we're going to keep in the theme of the ranged warlords, especially the Aeldari ones, and jump to Illic Nightspear. I did want to cover Illic relatively early, just because there are some things that make him very, very unique. And a couple things that make him a really strong contender right now. That said, he's not very new player friendly. He's rare, so he can be a little bit hard to get, and then does level somewhat more slowly, fairly quickly for a warlord, because he's not epic or legendary, of course, but still kind of takes a minute. So I've had him for a while, and mine's only level 7. But yes, so let's talk about him, and talk about a couple reasons why he's really, really strong, and why he's not new player friendly. So right out of the gate, we're looking at his stats, of course, range themed. He comes at a slightly higher price point than the last couple warlords we looked at, with of course a much higher base ranged attack stat, but his hit points are actually lower than some of the others at a slightly higher cost. So that's an issue. But his trait is the Deadshot, which is really, really good because it's target acquired, but will also target opposing warlords. So he is what we would call a headhunter warlord, where he's one whose entire goal is to pull the warlord out of the opposing deck and then focus all fire on it and take out the warlord to win the game by cutting off the head. So yeah, headhunter. His trait is one of the pieces that makes him particularly interesting. So, I mean, his trait is Deadshot. His ability, Bringer of True Death, and this was buffed not too long ago to make it pretty devastating. So if an enemy card takes 65% or more of its base health as damage from range attacks during a turn, it is instead destroyed. Now, there are ups and downs to this. The good news is that you can really focus on hitting a card hard, even if it doesn't do lethal damage, as long as that card still had 65% of its base health to take as damage. You can still take it out even after that first shot, after you've first done initial damage. The downside to that, though, is if you deal like 60% of its damage, you're not going to be able to one-shot it in the following turn, even if you then follow up with more damage, because you've already done too much. You've done, if you go over 50, I believe? No, I guess anywhere over where it has less than those hit points left. That's, anyway, numbers. But long story short, Illic is a warlord who cares a little bit about underkilling. The upside, though, is that his ability is very much like Skulltaker, in that it does focus on, or that it will take out an Akaran card. If you kill that card, it goes down to 5 health. It still will count to trigger the Bringer of True Death to wipe it out. And it's got a cool animation too. That is, of course, assuming that the damage you did to kill that card was over 65% of its base health. So it is a little bit tricky. There will be moments where you're like, oh, this will get him, but you did too much damage in previous turns so that it doesn't actually trigger. So you want to watch out for that. So it is a little bit of balance there. And then also another key point about that is it is base health. That's why Illic is such an interesting piece to bring up, because that will ignore bonuses like Greyfax. So if Greyfax bumps something up to plus 45% of its base health, Illic won't care. You don't have to hit that for that actual number. You only have to hit it for its pre-buff 65% of its base health. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. Also Medicae, also Rakarth. Rakarth, Magus, those healing warlords, they will top off cards, but Illic's ability doesn't care. It's focused on that base health before any bonuses or modifiers, and also regen. Keep stacking things on. So regen, Medicae, Rakarth, Greyfax, and oh god, what was the last one? Anyway, whatever. Anyway, long story short, this does not care about any of those abilities. It just cares about the card's original base health. And we're going to go ahead and look at some deck building with him. Now, of course, there's a funny balance here, and I always struggle a little bit. I end up stacking my Illic decks with really, really hard-hitting cards. You want high range damage, you want a lot of single target range damage, but then you also want to sprinkle in some barrage, because if you have high-level barrage, it can also come in and top cards off to where they actually take extra damage. And actually, it can. Say you do 60% of a card's base health, the barrage card that fires next can push that over the extra 5% and actually kill that card, where it otherwise wouldn't. Barrage also helps take out shields and helps you finish off those Akaran cards if you didn't have enough to actually kill it outright. So I usually sprinkle in some barrage. You can not do that if you choose. Target acquired, of course, is a very strong choice with Illic. And then what I'm looking for here is to see if I can swap some of these cards out a little bit, because I do want to put Mogan Ra in this deck, so we'll kind of swap this around a bit. Outflank is good. Outflank, ranged ready, so I've got both of those in here, are really good to charge up your shots to make sure that you are pushing through enough damage to get over that margin. Illic is particularly good at taking out high health cards if you can hit them hard enough. So you want a really high ranged attack stat to start. So let's just pull this all the way out and see how thin we can make it. But it likes high output damage cards, does not like your more low level cards. So you want high level cards and fewer of them so you can have a really devastating alpha, because that ability is good, but the higher your initial damage on the attacks is, the better that ability gets. And it does fall off a bit if you start taking cards that don't have enough damage to really make full use of it. 71 is okay. Let's get a little bit. Still really like this one. This is both high damage, good health, and then also that ranged ready. And this one too comes in cheaper. So we're still looking at a bunch of common cards being kind of the key pieces to fill out the deck. But you still probably are going to want, oh yeah, there's a good one. The Big Game Hunter coming in clutch, that leaves us with 30. Which is pretty much exactly enough to do one of these. Who's got the highest range attack? You've got 69. You've got 63. You've got 65. So we're probably going to go ahead and do this guy. That also has that ranged ready, so you can counteract some opposing ranged cards. Now this, I do struggle with Illic. He's very powerful, good counter, but these decks do end up being somewhat thin, and you can run out of steam, and you can get off cadence to where you're doing the wrong percentages of damage, and suddenly your ability doesn't trigger, and if you were counting on that, that can really turn a game for you. Perfect. We got Akaran to start off the bat. With Akaran in particular, you can pick on opposing cards. So I'll hit that for 100, which will be well over half and should comfortably take it out. That guy should kill on the drop. And that I should comfortably kill on the drop. Now it's his turn first, which is a bummer, but that poof, right off the bat. It didn't even play the turn. An Akaran card dead on deploy. And we're going to do it twice. Boom! So I love the animation on that, and you can see already how powerful that is. In any other deck, that would have taken a long time to remove those cards. You'd have to kill them twice. You'd have to do enough damage to kill them once. So luckily, this is still fairly early in the season, and I am quite overpowered on this guy. So this also is one of those things that makes Illic such a good... And this is going to hit both of them. Ooh! But it wasn't quite enough. So you saw the ability trigger before the Akaran ability trigger, so I didn't do enough there. So that's why I still have one guy sitting on 5 health. But I am chainsawing through these cards so fast, it's not going to matter. Or it might. If he manages to turn this around... We'll see, I don't think so. If he manages to turn this around at some point, and then have Akaran himself have his shields tank enough damage, this could be an issue. Splat. Ooh, that wasn't enough. But yeah, so you can see how you can start to count on it, and all of a sudden it doesn't trigger right when you least expect it. So that is something to watch out for with Illic that can be kind of a feels bad and give him a little bit more of an edge to playing. He's a very high risk, high reward, kind of glassy warlord, but really very powerful. And now here's the thing. This guy here has already taken enough damage where I cannot Illic kill him. Even if I hit him for lethal, it's not going to matter. That's where Illic differs a little bit versus Skulltaker, because Skulltaker... Oh, there it is. Oh, God. Skulltaker, it doesn't even matter what percentage of health was given at a different time. That's where Illic is a little bit weirder and more complicated than similar warlords. You can see that could be kind of an issue in play. So we're going to play a game after this so you can see it. I'm really glad that we got to do this video where one of the opposing decks is Akaran, so you can see that interaction as well. And it's like doubly weird because there's different layers where you could or couldn't trigger Akaran's or Illic's ability in different combinations. So it is a little bit hard to track what's going on. All right, so there we go. That was one. We'll do our second game, and then we should be good here. I've really hit the highlights for Illic. This is going to be one of my shorter videos. He is a challenging warlord to list build with and to play, so he's a lot of fun. And if you're really struggling with some of the scarier combos out there, he can be very good. He's also good against Badrock if your cards are high enough level and do enough damage, because you don't have to do the full damage to kill them. But you do need to hit them hard enough in single turns that you're dealing that 65% plus damage in a single turn. You can't hit stuff with a couple shots here and there over multiple turns, and that will never trigger his ability. So that's, again, the reason I make top-heavy Illic decks that focus just on your hardest-hitting ranged attacks and don't even deal with the lower damage attacks. But you saw where that pays off. You can punch throw. Oh, this is perfect. So we got Greyfax and we got Akaran, the two top warlords that you want to play Illic against. This is awesome. I couldn't have asked for a better combo. That's not great, though. And so again, it doesn't matter if he just got a buffed up hit points, because I don't care. I only care about his base hit points. Okay. That's a really thick... I want to see how many of these I can take out this turn. But I don't want to do target acquired. We're going to do it. Now here, the reason I did that is so that it is my turn, I will be shooting first, and I have a chance for the target acquired, not target acquired, for the precision shot from Mogan Ra to help stack my starting damage to give me a better chance of making sure that I do outright kill Eisenhorn here. And there we go. He had 114 health left on the board. Still as dangerous as ever, but Illic was able to kill him outright. That's 2 kills first turn. That would be extremely difficult to get for any other warlord, but Illic is able to push that extra bit of damage through because he considers these cards as weaker than they actually are. Which is really the power piece of Illic. And it's going to cost me Mogan Ra, but I've really made a mess of this opponent deck. Here again is where this barrage could come into play. Thinking. I'm assuming that Seth Bruin is going to be able to one-shot this guy. This one probably won't one-shot this guy, but it may be able to one-shot that guy. We'll see. The downside here is if any of those one-shots I'm looking for don't happen. Okay, and they didn't. Then that puts me in kind of a weak position, because now these guys probably can't be one-shot unless I just straight overkill them. Okay, so it's not a super scary Greyfax deck, but we already saw some of the things that make Illic a really strong counter to Greyfax. And kind of see what's going on here. And I don't want to throw shade on this deck. This is a perfectly fine Greyfax deck. It's a really interesting mix of stuff, and it's holding up well. But we're just looking at somewhat lower level. Well, no, actually, these are fairly well leveled cards. Bye. Yeah, so these guys, you can really see how that totally throws you off, though. These two still lingering here this many turns on, like that's a big fail. I should have hit them harder in the earlier turns, because now I've kind of lost the advantages I should have had. And I'm going to lose most of my most powerful cards here, and that is a problem. Can I pull this out? Oh, yes. Got my dragon. Let's see if we got it. So the combination of Dead Shot for that target acquired bonus damage on Greyfax, plus Big Game Hunter, both of these shots going at her. I think I've got this, but we'll see. Not a very impressive damage spread, but with the plus 20% from Deadshot, 15%, excuse me. Deadshot has a lower bonus than target acquired. So 15% damage buff plus the rank 3. Yeah, let's try it. I don't really have another choice. This is my best shot anyway. Yeah, we got it. Woo, man, okay. And that's also really important to illustrate, because any other combination of cards, if I had that exact same deck with any other warlord, I would have been host. Completely host. But Illic, his trait is such a little bump ahead that it makes him an incredibly strong warlord, especially against some of the strongest pieces. That was perfect. It's a wrap. I could not have asked for a better Illic video. Yeah, hopefully that was helpful. He's a very cool warlord if you have him, if you get a chance to play him. Another really aggressive, kind of fast-playing one with a cool trait, but challenging to play, which is one of the things I enjoy, actually. Because it's cool. When you're losing games based on play decisions, it can be a little bit better than losing based on cards. So I kind of enjoy warlords that emphasize that, where your skilled play benefits you, and you can lose games by messing up, but you also get tremendous rewards from playing it well. So that's cool. Good luck. Let me know if you have any thoughts about Illic Nightspear.